miraculously, by the grace of God, we are live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Road Rails information page on Facebook, Sanctuary Interfaith on YouTube, and the Council on Twitch. Joined today by Cardinal Emil Johansson.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Unfortunately, you did miss a really important message from Cardinal Thomas Cavan and myself, but we turned it into a recording. And there's some important news about our TikTok account that people might be very interested in learning about. And it has a lot to do with, well, just to give a bit of a preview of it, if that's all right with you, brother.
Yeah, sure.
We're talking a lot about being shadow banned, about the message that we're trying to bring being suppressed. And this is all thanks to the judges of this world. And I know we're probably going to talk a little bit about that today, but there's some interesting Bible code and Torah code revelations that you wanted to discuss, right?
Yeah. Mainly some of the most recent ones in the past week or two. And I wanted to start with the one, "In Me Find Messiah" here. And this is an update to a code that I did in 2014, I believe. And there's a lot to unpack in this code, but maybe we should do a quick recap first, just so people who are new to this might understand. The main search term here is the red circles going in the middle there. And you can see it on the top there also with the translation. And the secondary terms are the words that we identify in proximity to the main search term. And those are displayed in the bottom there with the translations. So you should be able to see what the symbols and colors are and match them together. Because I suspect most people don't read Hebrew here.
Yeah, it's good to have that key there on the bottom and the top that tells us what these different terms in Hebrew mean in English.
Yeah, for sure. So, as I said, there's a lot to unpack here. It's a very profound code, in my opinion. It says the main search term is "Find Messiah," and it extended to "In Me Find Messiah." And at the bottom of the main search term, the first thing that really stands out there that you can see is it spells out Rael, read from left to right, which is the Messiah, the Lord who came with a new name. It's just positioned just in the middle there, and just when it begins. I think that's very significant.
So
would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And just so you're aware, right now, our audience, they can only see the code. They're not seeing us on camera, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
So please continue.
And we got some other very interesting terms here as well. You see off to the left, the most left side there, you get the purple circles going down, or octagons or whatever they are. It says "brings truth," which is what the Messiah does. You know, the Lord said, "I am the truth, the light and the way," and so on. And we got just above the starting of Rael there, word meaning dear or darling. You can't really see those words now if you scroll down a little bit. Yeah. Another thing that was very interesting is you have the word for divine or godlike, the pink stars there to the right, Elohi, which is very profound, I would say, and he is the Son of God. So, and also what I found interesting was that classified, sorted, that would go straight through the start of the word Messiah. So that kind of points us to, this someone here is classified as the Messiah.
And clearly that's by name. It's clearly written that Rael is underlined right underneath where it says "In me find Messiah."
Yeah. That's what I would say it points to very much. What else did you have? If you scroll down just a little bit so I can see the um, direction, lead, way, course is, he said, I'm the way to the Father. Um, what else we got? I included bending there because he told the world to bend their knee when he came back and to give their loyalty to him.
Yeah, it could also translate as bowing one's head or body.
Yeah.
So essentially, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
In submission.
Showing respect. And to make peace, he's called the Prince of Peace. To amaze, I just included that because it's an amazing code. So it's like the code itself says it's amazing, which it is. I find that very, very fascinating. There was another thing that's very interesting that maybe I'd like to hear from you what you think also there, Clark. There's a long search term to the right there that says they are kings by noble. And just to the left of that, you got Islam. And I found that to be very interesting.
Yeah, it would seem interesting. Clearly, of course, if we define Islam by the Arabic terminology, Islam means submission to God,
Mm-hmm.
submission to Allah, and complete submission to Allah. Of course, the people who are kings or by nobility must be in submission to God. So it would be in line with Islam, and I think that those two paralleled with one another, being in line with each other, that it's very much what it's indicating.
I was thinking also that there's a prophecy about, I think it's the prophecy where Euphrates is dried up to prepare the way for the kings of the east, which is understood by a lot of people to be the Muslim countries. And yeah, the word for noble there is Shoah. It's not the Shoah that means Holocaust, but when I looked in the dictionary, it said that it could be a name for a nomadic tribe around the region of Syria.
Very
So,
interesting.
yeah,
And Syria just being just north of Israel, next to the Golan Heights.
yeah. And they've had a lot of conflicts between each other before.
And the final conflict is supposed to occur in that region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where Damascus is. It's one of the end signs of one of the signs of the end times is that Damascus is going to be a heap of ruins.
And it already is.
Yeah.
There's not much left of Damascus to destroy. So it's not as though
Yeah.
they're going to rebuild to fulfill prophecy and destroy it again.
Yeah, not really.
No, this is the time of the end for sure. So I think now would be a good time for us to move on to the next code.
Yeah. This is a code that Richard discovered a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to include it in this segment because of how profound it is in its revelation, the secondary terms, and the sheer length of the main search term, which is very unusually long. So the main search term reads from bottom to top here: Torah 8, the Lord Yahweh, Ra, and Richard. So, Yahweh is the name of the Lord. Ra is often referred to Rael in the codes and stuff. And it was also the name of the Egyptian god, which has many similarities with the Christ in mythology. And there's Richard, his own name there. And the secondary terms, we got lions, truthfully, lovingly, love. So there's two words related to love here. And you got codes, to crown, and farther from cloud, Arlier. All very significant secondary terms, I would say.
And R Lear, that's the R being an abbreviation for Raymond.
Yeah.
Lear. So Raymond Lear that's the name of the Messiah.
Yeah. and his name comes up a lot in the codes. And we actually have another code where Arlir occurs in. Um, we're going to show it in a short while here.
Would you like me to bring that up next?
Yeah, it's not going to be that code, but it's a prelude to that code. You could show that next code, that one, yeah. So this is a code we found for July of this year, and it's a transliteration of the month of July, actually, and then it's the Hebrew year. But if you drop the hey there, which I think you can do in Hebrew, it's like they commonly do that. They drop the 5 because it's sort of understood that, yeah, it's the 5th millennia we're talking about. Sort of like we would say in the 90s or summer of 69, we understand that it's, the 1900s. Similarly to that, they can drop the 5 there, I think. And if you do, it becomes July 5th, actually. So it could be pointing to that exact date, actually.
So let's find out a little bit more about what's going to occur on July 5th, according
Yeah.
to the code.
So you got some interesting words here. You got Wilhelm, you got Aradai, Harris, Vixen, and those are some very interesting. We'll come back to that. Turnover, change, replaces, substituting, deprive, negate, belligerent, militant, combative, to take revenge, earthliness, worldliness, booms, mankind. And that was it, right? So what's interesting here is the word, well, several of the words, but Harris, for example, because we got Kamala Harris is the vice president of the United States. And then a lot of people expect her to pretty much take over from Biden because he's in very poor health, and people are wondering how he's even going to be able to compete with Trump and have another term, because he's showing so many signs of mental deterioration, which is something we've talked about before in other shows, I think. So this, since we got words here like substituting, replaces, and change, and Harris, and also vixen, which is a word for it's like a cunning woman, is it, or something, or an ill-tempered woman?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe this points to something happening in July that causes her to replace Biden. It's a theory, but it certainly seems to point to that.
Well, it seems like a sound theory.
Yeah.
Because people are seeing what's happening with Joe Biden, and even though the Democratic Party seems to overall be trying to cover that up,
Yeah.
it's plain as day obvious to just about anybody watching him and listening to him. He makes no sense when he's talking. There's no cheap fake there.
Mm-hmm.
They're not editing that out to make him seem like foolish, but he does that all on his own.
It's like everyone knows it, but some people are pretending like it doesn't exist, like the Emperor's New Clothes kind of thing,
Yeah, but yeah, we all know that he's pretty much on like stage 5 out of 7 at least on the level of senility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
there's the obvious replacement would be the vice president, who's named in this code for July 5th. And we're seeing the current president of the United States, his health and mental health is degrading. It's very likely that he'll be replaced soon. And, right next to this term, as you were saying, there's some interesting correlations there. Mm-hmm. I see going right into the term for Harris is the term for take revenge.
Yeah.
To take revenge. And then coming from that, right here, is earthliness, mundaneness, worldliness. And then the yellow, that's the brown one. And the yellow one here with the circles is belligerent, feisty, militant. And then crossing straight into that is to supersede, replace.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to us it might be very clear, to others maybe not, but
It almost sounds like if she takes over from Biden, she'll escalate the revenge thing against Trump.
yeah,
Yeah,
it could be. It could. In addition to that, you might even say that she might bring us to World War III,
yeah,
because of all of these things that the Democratic Party seems to be doing against Russia.
yeah,
Certainly, Donald Trump's administration was accused of collusion with Russia because he actually worked with them instead of against them.
hmm,
He considered Vladimir Putin his friend because he had a good diplomatic relationship with him,
yeah.
and a good
They had
business
respect for
relationship.
each other.
Yeah,
And what happened as soon as Biden took office? They invaded Ukraine. So says a lot.
yeah, it does. And, you know, it speaks volumes, their actions.
Yeah,
And we fully expect that no matter which, uh, whether it be president or vice president is currently in office, they're going to adequately and correctly represent the Democratic Party and their interests.
mm,
So Kamala Harris, while she might not seem any less foolish than Joe Biden, is going to continue the same narrative.
yeah. Many people think that there's someone else behind the scenes who's actually making the calls there, and that might not change at all. So it might just be the same course.
Well, anybody who's going against the status quo from whomever is operating things behind the scenes, whether it be George Soros or somebody else,
Hmm.
or maybe even an oligarchy of sorts,
Yeah,
including him. Um, the only people that are clearly opposed to that script, you might say, are the ones that they propose are their enemies.
hmm,
And you'll see it blasted across popular medias that they're trying to defame certain people, certain types of people, and that includes Donald Trump.
yeah,
So it was
for
clear
sure.
that Donald Trump was not a part of what they had planned.
Yeah, he didn't. He hasn't taken the money from the special interests and the elite, so he's. He wants to do what's best for the American people, and that's not always in the interest of the corporations and stuff, other military industrial complex and stuff like that. So yeah,
Hmm, very interesting.
we could move on to the next code, I think.
Of course.
So this is the code. Previous code was a code discovered by Richard, also a couple of weeks ago. This is a code. Don't remember who discovered it, but it is an old code. It was discovered in 2013, and I made an update to it recently. And it reads "Code of the Torah," and this is the only occurrence of it in the Torah. And it could extend to subcode of the Torah. And we got some interesting terms here. Delightful Levite, and Levites, as we know, they were the priest class of the Israelite tribes. And we got, before I get to that term, we got internet, apostolic, and transliteration, which are all connected to the Torah codes themselves, I would say. Because we who most of all push the Torah codes, and I would say are the best at doing them and interpreting them, we are the apostles of the returned Christ. And we spread this information through the internet. And what you often do with names and stuff is you transliterate them to match the Hebrew. So I think those are very interesting terms related to like the Torah codes themselves. You have any thoughts on that, Clark, or you
I mean, your
agree?
interpretation seems sound to me. It
Mm-hmm.
seems very clear that it's talking about the new priesthood. Um, and the means by which we send the messages through the internet.
Yeah.
The Holy and Apostolic Order of the Temple, and referring specifically to Christ's apostles, is the Ecumenical Order of Christ. Our Lear is named here, but it says July 5th, and I think that's really interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
because just the code we showed previously could say July 5th as well. So we got two codes discovered or updated pretty recently that points to the same date.
So something clearly is meant to happen on July 5th.
Yeah, and it's the day before the Independence Day of the United States too, right?
Day after.
Yeah, the day after, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but on July 5th in Israel, it will be the night of July 4th in America.
yeah.
So if this were fulfilled in Israel,
yeah,
and in America at the same time, it would be July 4th in America.
yeah, you're very right. So you should watch out for something on July 4th and 5th and see if there's something related to this or the previous code that might happen.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking a lot about Babylon. I mean, pretty much everything we were just referencing is about Babylon.
Yeah.
And that has everything to do with the code that we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, just in case some people might not know, the United States is referred to as Babylon in the Book of Revelation. And there is several places in the Book of Revelation which talks about Babylon and what's going to happen to it, and then what its nature is, kind of. And this is one old code I made as well that I updated recently. And the main search term was Mystery Babylon, and it extends to Mystery Babylon famine to pay for.
So I would like to sort of explain to our audience very quickly how you come to this.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, when you're searching for something, you put it very simply in the code, whether it be anywhere from like 7 letters to 10 letters or whatever, whether it's 1 word or 2 words or more. You're more likely to get results from the smaller the spelling or the less words you use. So when you put something as simple as Mystery Babylon, that looks like what is it? 6 letters?
It's actually 9
letters. So it's 2 words, of course. Yeah. Combining from right to left, you see the words for Babylon and then the word for mystery, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that was essentially your initial search.
Yeah, and there were a couple more results, if I remember correctly, but this was the only one that was only in the Torah.
Okay, so you showed a preference to what was in the Torah. Of course, the Torah code. The reason for that, I would say, would be that the Torah is the confirmed letter for letter word of God, given unto Moses. Verifiably so, in that at least it was the most accurate and unabridged and unchanged word of God that we have available on the earth today. So you could say that this is a more verifiable source derived from God, a message from God, and unabridged and unaltered by man.
Yeah, and as a general rule, if we have several options, always, in my opinion or experience, the ones that are the most profound are also the ones that are statistically most unlikely. You know, the mathematically least likely to appear. I often, if there's some hits in the Tanakh and just one hit in the Torah, like in this case, most often in my experience, the Torah code is the most accurate or most significant one.
And that's not to diminish from the significance that might be discovered in the Bible code. It's just from our experience, Torah code seems better, for lack of a better term.
But it could very well be that the other codes are significant and have important messages as well.
And also extensions, which is what I wanted to get to next, because you found additional terms that extended beyond your main search term. This was not your intention. You did want to find whatever it says afterwards, but you didn't know what it was going to say.
No, I had to look up letter for letter what they could mean, and just put them together. So in this case, there's a 3-letter word meaning famine after Babylon there, and there's another 3-letter word following that means to finance or to pay for.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it is a It is a pretty long main search term in the context of it all. And if you look at some of the secondary terms here, you got absolutely, definitely, menaced, threatened, appointment, assignment, cascade, waterfall, commanding, imposing, magnificent, a lot of things meaning that word. Fractious, mutineer, leadership, mastership, presidency, let death seize, delusion, fallacy, illusion, liberal, which you have both the word for a liberal person and the liberal ideology. And there's R. Lear there as well. There's actually 3 codes today that we're showing that has R. Lear in it. But yeah. And I had a theory. Well, let's first read what this is all about, because we haven't really mentioned what Mystery Babylon is. But
Oh, right, of course.
it is mentioned in Revelation 17. And I thought we could read that just to give people an understanding of what this is and why I was prompted to search for this at one point.
Okay, so this is Revelation chapter 17, the Peshitta Holy Bible translated, essentially the ancient Aramaic.
Yeah, and I'll read from the first verse here. And one of the 7 angels who had with them the 7 vessels came and spoke with me, saying, "Follow me, I shall show you the judgment of the harlot who sits on many waters. For the kings of the earth committed fornication with her, and all earth dwellers are drunk with the wine of her fornication. And he brought me to the wilderness in the spirit, and I saw a woman who sat on a blood-red beast full of blasphemous names, which has 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was wearing purple and scarlet gilt with gold and precious stones and pearls, and had a cup of gold in her hand. And it was full of abominations and the filth of her fornication. And upon her forehead was written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the filth of the earth. And I saw the woman who was drunk with the blood of the holy ones, and with the blood of the witnesses of Yeshua, and I was stunned with a great astonishment when I saw her." And I think we might end it there, and give sort of a short explanation, because this is talking about Ishtar, basically, who is like the patron goddess or matron goddess of Babylon.
And in Rome, that would be Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
And in America is depicted clearly as Lady Liberty.
Yeah. Statue of Liberty. And she holds up what looks like a cup to me, but I guess it's a flaming cup, or something. Or
flaming chalice or a torch of some kind.
Yeah. And she has some sort of crown as well, right? So she's like a queen. And yeah, most depictions of Ishtar are similar, and her clothed in purple and stuff. So yeah, and she's like the origin of the modern feminist movement as well.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to deep dive on this topic really soon.
Yeah, it probably needs an entire episode just all that.
I fully anticipate that we're probably going to use one of our Sunday episodes to cover this topic.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully sooner than later, but we definitely want to be fully prepared to show people everything they need to know on this topic.
Yeah.
And we're actually receiving direct guidance from the returned Messiah on this, and it's going to be presented in a way that's to his liking. Yeah. So we're kind of giving like a little sneak preview.
Yeah.
Just by revealing this code here.
Yeah. So if we go back to the code, I think maybe a lot of people know what we went through the last year, and I have a theory that this also talks about what we went through, because we had a woman within the leadership who betrayed our king and all of us and turned us over to, basically had us raided by the authorities based on false accusations, who took everything from us, um, basically threw us out on the streets. And you have terms here like threatened, because, yeah, that woman threatened to do that before she even did it, and then she did it. And you got like appointment. She was appointed in a very high position in our in the Ecumenical Order of Christ, and she was very commanding. We got that word there as well. You got mutineer, like a rebellion, which she did, betrayed us. You got leadership, and you got illusion, which is what she suffered from. She imagined things, and she was extremely paranoid, and ended up falsely accusing us of things. So I think there's a lot of similarities here to what we went through, and also the extension to the main term, which is famine, to pay for. Now, it wasn't like we were starving and stuff like that, but
Not at that time, no.
no, but there were there were points where we actually had to count whatever coins we had left to see if we could buy a pack of bread. So, and we had to like beg all our friends and family for financial support to make through this horrible time.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that we had to go through that. And we're still going through it to this day,
Yeah.
begging for handouts from people because we can't even be monetized on these platforms with which we're gaining multiple thousands of followers and just getting shut down like that.
Yeah.
It seems as though we are perpetually the poor servants of Christ.
Yeah. And we were hoping this was going to help us a lot, with our situation financially. And then TikTok comes in, and just before we get to that level where we would be able to monetize it, like swept the rug from out under us and just banned the account.
Yep. Completely gone. And we're going to be releasing a recording that Brother Thomas Cavan and I did earlier today. Oh boy. Yeah, we really let into him.
Yeah.
There were some expletives that I plan on bleeping out, I guess you could say. I'm not going to use a bleep, though. I think I might use something like a shofar horn.
So I'm going to enjoy watching that.
Yeah, so it's age appropriate. But yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of the shofar horn blowing and a lot of prophesying chastisements against those responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And, instead of pointing at any one place specifically, we actually cited the exact locations of every TikTok headquarters office on this planet. So we named them, each and every one of them. Starting with the one in America. Or two in America, actually. There's one in New York City and one in Los Angeles, but the one closest to us, of course, being Los Angeles.
Yeah. Let's see if they see some of the consequences of their actions.
Yeah, God willing. God willing, they'll understand.
Not by us. We're not terrorists.
No, we're just messengers.
Yeah,
yeah.
If anyone does anything, it's God. So.
Yeah, right? Exactly. The ultimate weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
God himself.
Yeah.
So if you want to come to Baja looking for WMDs, all you're going to find is some spirit-filled apostles.
Yeah. But it is a story of our whole existence throughout history, people trying to shut us down and killing us for trying to spread the message of our Lord. And
That would be the ultimate threat to them, though, wouldn't it? The truth.
Mm-hmm.
When all that they're about is lies.
Yeah. It's going to turn their whole world upside down, and they're going to lose whatever power and wealth they have.
Look forward to that day.
And if only the big masses of people understood how beneficial it would be for them, for that to happen. I mean, the leaders now in the world, they are oppressors. Our king is benevolent. He's loving. Together we're going to create a so much better world.
Whether people accept that or not, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
People that choose not to accept it now for whatever misgivings they have, whatever doubts that they have, unfortunately for them, the further they are from this truth, from this mission, and from this message, and being able to accept it and spread it and to help those who are spreading it, the further they'll be from the kingdom when it comes.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And so your hesitance to give not just 10% of what God has required of you, but to just give $1, if you can't even give us a cup of water.
Yeah. Anything would help. It's interesting that you mentioned water, because there's something that Yeshua said in the Gospels, right, about whoever gives the littlest one a cup of water would be called great or something, right?
Yeah, whoever gives one of mine,
Yeah.
but a cup of water would be added to these blessings.
Something of that effect, yeah.
Yeah, something of that effect. And literally a cup of water these days costs about $1.
Yeah, just give a little something, everything helps. There's also the verse about the old lady who just gave like a small coin, but she was so poor it was everything she had. And Yeshua said because she gave everything she had, she gave much more than everyone else who gave just a little bit from their excess.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. And this is when Yeshua was speaking, or when his apostles were speaking, everybody that gathered around was expected to give a little bit. And even the woman that gave such a small amount, like even what was considered like less than a shekel or like 10 cents or something like that, such a small amount, like a little copper piece, people were trying to mock and shame her during that time. And Yeshua corrected them and said that she gave much more of herself than many of the others did, because she had nothing.
Yeah.
She basically gave everything she had left, even though it was just that little copper. She had nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So to her, it was everything, but the message was so much more important. And for those of you who are watching, there is a link in the description down below, and you're not limited to how much you give, low or high. It's up to you. But not giving it all, you're basically saying to us that you want us to be poor, because we are. We live in poverty here. Many of us are sharing bedrooms. Many of us are sharing a living room.
Yeah. And we worried at the end of each month if we're going to be able to pay the rent or not.
Yeah, we don't know if we could afford our utilities. We don't know if we can afford food. We were recently fined by the Mexican government for bringing food card. We use our food cards to get food in California, in America. We try to bring it over the border, and they fined us like 40% of its value just for bringing food over.
Imagine that
for
we're
a church.
Just trying to feed ourselves and our church, and they come and like punish us for trying to satisfy our most basic needs.
Yeah, we use those food cards because we don't have money for food, and so they fine us money on top of food card purchases.
Yeah,
we clearly couldn't afford. So we went from having nothing to less than nothing immediately, and here we are trying to catch up, and we've got people watching us just eating their popcorn, drinking their sodas and their beers and whatever. And what are you doing? Are you working a 9-to-5 job? And you want to tell us to get jobs? This is our job. This is what we do. We tell you the truth, and you absorb it. But how well you absorb it is based on your actions. So donate, give, like, share, subscribe, comment, participate.
And I know that you will be blessed for it as well. You will be rewarded for
Of course. Giving. But just giving on itself should be its own reward. It should be sufficient for people to know that they're helping.
Yeah.
I don't give to our group because I want something back. I give because we need it.
Yeah.
Which is the same as anybody else here. And unfortunately, it's really just the people who are here who give. Yeah. There might be a few others.
There are some others, yeah. They shouldn't go uncredited, but yeah. We much appreciate everyone who gives and helps us out. But there could be so many more. There are not that many as you might think.
Yeah, a handful, really.
Yeah.
Could fit on within 5 fingers.
Pretty much, yeah. So
yeah. And they give more than 10%. of what they make.
Yeah.
Because they know about the deficit that we're in.
Yeah.
And they
We
know
have
the priority
some
of
people
it.
who support us who are very helpful. We're very generous and beautiful people.
Yeah.
And please want to be counted among them.
You're too kind.
Okay,
For most of you, it's too late. Even if you gave everything you had, it wouldn't be enough. And it probably will cost you your lives. That's just the reality. The end is here. And before it costs you your life, it'll probably cost you everyone and everything that you hold dear in your life. It will all be taken from you. And you will curse God for it, because you're hearing these words and you know who it's coming from when it's taken from you. Mark these words in your mind and in your heart. But God willing, if you have a mind and a heart for God, that you won't curse God when those chastisements come upon you, and that you will repent and turn your heart and your veneration towards the Son of Man, the only way to the Father, the returned Christ, Lord Rael.
Amen.
Well, with that, let's end it here, shall we?
Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching.
May God bless in Lord Rael's name.